Greetings, Pokefans! Michael here. Before we dive into the video, many of you are probably wondering why I have blue hair, and it's not just here, it is all over the top. Well, for those of you who don't know, a little while ago, Jubilee and I did a Twitch stream on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MandJTV, where we were raising money for Hurricane Harvey relief, and put the initial goal at 500, said, alright, if we hit 2,500, 5 times what we have right now, then I will dye my hair blue. And we hit it. We raised about $2,700 for Hurricane Harvey relief, so that was fantastic. And if you want to watch the vlog of the process of all of this happening, you can click or tap in the upper right-hand corner, and it is on my second channel for you to watch. Welcome to the newest installment in my top strongest Pokemon series. If you haven't checked out the other ones, you should definitely do so. I'll put a playlist link in the cards up there. But anyways, for this specific video, I was thinking about how a lot of Pokemon go through some pretty drastic changes over the course of their lifespan. And it got me thinking, what are some of the strongest Pokemon that started out as some of the weakest? So I decided to make a top 10 about it. I actually went pretty in depth with determining the Pokemon that were on this list. How I did it was I got a list of the top 50 weakest Pokemon based on base stat total. Then of those 50 Pokemon, I found their final forms, Mega Evolutions included, and found those base stat totals, and then ranked those from highest to lowest, and I'm going to be counting down the top 10 from that list. Any tiebreakers of Pokemon that have the same base stat total will be determined by which Pokemon is in the higher Smogon singles tier. Is this the best method to break the ties? Probably not, but it's definitely the simplest. So without further ado, be sure to leave a like on the video, comment below what Pokemon you think are gonna be on the list, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, here are the top 10 strongest Pokemon that start out as the weakest. Number 10, Noivern. Noibat is tied with 3 other Pokemon for the 37th through 40th spots on the top 50 weakest Pokemon list with a base stat total of only 245. Its change to Noivern is a pretty dramatic one though, since its base stat total jumps from 245 to 535. Noibat's evolved form Noivern excels in speed and special attack, and it has pretty respectable stats all the way through. In my opinion, this is a pretty dramatic transformation to the fact that I'm honestly surprised there isn't a form in between Noibat and Noivern. Number 9, Crobat. Remember how I said that Noibat was tied with 3 other Pokemon that also have a base stat total of 245? Well, interestingly enough, Zubat is one of them. And not only are Zubat and Noibat tied, Crobat and Noivern are tied, both with a base stat total of 535. They're keeping their bat stats consistent. Like I said before, I break the base stat total ties by who's in the better Smogon tier, and Noivern is in BL3 and Crobat is in UU, so Crobat gets the edge here. I think it makes sense that Crobat gets the edge though, since Crobat is a Pokemon I've seen used in competitive a lot, mostly as a U-turn pivot, and while it does have less attacking power, it has a lot better speed, which is really important for a Pokemon that uses U-turn. Number 8, Milotic. The 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th weakest Pokemon is a 4-way tie, all with a base stat total of only 200, and one of them is Feebas, the ugly little fish that is really frickin' hard to find. Feebas has a spectacular ugly duckling glow up though, changing from this ugly little spotted fish to the beautiful Milotic. But not only does its appearance improve a lot, its strength dramatically increases, changing from a base stat total of 200 to 540. Milotic is a Pokemon that's well known to be quite good and gotten even better in this new gen because of the burn nerf, so the fact that it changes from a stupid little ugly fish to this really amazing beautiful sea serpent thing is just, I think that's pretty cool. Number 7, Blissey. Happiny is one of 4 Pokemon tied for the 25th through 28th weakest Pokemon slots with a base stat total of only 220. When it evolves though, it ends up tied with Milotic, since both Blissey and Milotic have a base stat total of 540. But while Milotic is in the RU tier, which is something I don't understand, I thought Milotic was so much better than RU, but whatever. Blissey is in the UU tier, so Blissey gets the higher spot on this list. Blissey does have insane, spectacular special bulk and HP, so it makes sense that it's an excellently used Pokemon though. Although one thing I've always thought is amusing is that if you give Hancy an Eviolite, it is better than Blissey. So does Blissey really deserve to be on this list? Yes, since I'm doing it by base stat total, but if we were doing it by actual competitive prowess, maybe not. Number 6, Togekiss. Remember how I said Noivern and Zubat were 2 of 4 Pokemon tied for a base stat total of 245? Well, the third is actually Togepi. And the fourth is Starly. That's not as relevant since Staraptor's not on this list, but I figured you might be curious, and I should tell you since I've already told you 3 of the 4. But while Togepi is tied with Zubat and Noivern, its final evolution, Togekiss, gets the edge, with a base stat total of 545. Togekiss is a widely used, excellent Pokemon. I've used one myself before in an old draft league, Houston Gastros. But while Togepi is tied with Noivern and Zubat, Togekiss is better than Noivern and Crobat, since it has a base stat total of 545 rather than 535. It makes sense that Togekiss is great though, since not only does it have great bulk and special attack, but it's also got phenomenal abilities, which you're probably very aware of if you've ever been paraflinch haxed Togekiss to death, which I have done to other people, and it was great. Number 5, Mega Pidgeot. So Mega Pidgeot actually barely made it onto this list. Now you might think, how did it barely make it onto this list if it's number 5? Well, that's because, remember how I said I took the top 50 weakest Pokemon? Pidgey is the 49th weakest, with a base stat total of 251. If it had been slightly stronger, Mega Pidgeot wouldn't be here. But even though Pidgey is one of the strongest of the weakest Pokemon that I'm looking at, it's still a pretty drastic transformation. Yes, Pidgey has 251 base stat total and only changes to 479 when it becomes a Pidgeot, but Mega Pidgeot has a base stat total of 579. Mega Pidgeot has incredible speed and incredible special attack, so combine that with a 100% accurate Hurricane thanks to No Guard, and you've got a pretty hard-hitting storm-creating bird. Number 4, Mega Gardevoir and Mega Gallade. This one actually surprised me quite a bit since I didn't realize that Ralts was so weak. Ralts is the 8th weakest Pokemon with a base stat total of only 198. But my goodness, does Ralts grow up fast. It has 2 different insanely powerful final forms, with both Mega Gardevoir and Mega Gallade having a base stat total of 618, which is massive. Ralts also has some pretty fun options involved with this, since Mega Gardevoir hits specially like a freaking truck, and Mega Gallade hits physically like a freaking truck. So Ralts changes from this feeble little psychic child to either being this amazing warrior slash amazing lady in a dress, I guess, is what Mega Gardevoir is. But either way, they both hit spectacularly hard. Number 3, Wishiwashi School Form. Wishiwashi Solo Form is the weakest Pokemon in existence with a base stat total of only 175. You could sneeze on this fish and it would die. But it becomes one heck of a behemoth when thousands of other ones of it show up and act as one Pokemon, which just doesn't seem fair. But regardless, School Form Wishiwashi has a base stat total of 620, which is huge. Every single one of its stats are stellar, except for HP and speed, which remain absolutely horrible. But other than that, having 4 different stats that are all over 130 is, my goodness. But unlike a lot of the other Pokemon on this list, School Form Wishiwashi is not useful because, unlike every other Pokemon on this list, it actually can revert back to its extremely weak form. So while it's number 3 on this list, maybe don't use it. Number 2, Mega Gyarados. Magikarp is the OG drastic transformation Pokemon and still is one of the best known ones because it's a great example of it. Magikarp does start off very weak, tied with Feebas in the 9th through 12th weakest Pokemon slot with a base stat total of only 200. And just like Milotic, since the Milotic and Feebas line were inspired by the Magikarp and Gyarados line, its evolution Gyarados has a base stat total of 540, which would land it in about the 9th, 8th 7th slot on this list. Its Mega changes the game though, since Gyarados, when it Mega evolves, gets an extra 100 base stat total added to it, making its base stat total 640. That's massive. Mega Gyarados has incredible stats and is a very powerful Pokemon, and I think it's just really cool that the OG weak to strong Pokemon is still at the top of the list. Well, almost. Number 1, Solgaleo and Lunala. The new kids on the block have the biggest glow up of all of these Pokemon. They start out as Cosmog, which has a base stat total of 200, the 3rd Pokemon tied with Feebas and Magikarp, the 4th of which is Scatterbug. But this little space blob that won't stay in its frickin' bag changes into massively powerful legendaries, both of which have a base stat total of 680. Now, 680 has the same base stat total as most of the box art legendary Pokemon, but all of those other legendaries don't start out as a weak little Cosmog. So therefore, the fact that they go from being so weak to so incredibly powerful nails down their slot at the top of this list. So there we have it. Those are the top 10 strongest Pokemon that start out as really freaking weak. I think it's really cool when a Pokemon goes from being really weak and feeble to really powerful, so this was a really fun list for me to figure out. What did you think of this video? What are some other Pokemon you think have massive transformations? What do you think of my new blue hair? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, you should definitely subscribe to my channel for more fun Pokemon content of all kinds. Also, if you like what I do here, you should check out my content in other places, such as my live streams on Twitch, my second channel where I do some non-gaming content, and my Patreon, where if you choose to help support me, you can earn some cool exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Alright, that's all I have for now, so till next time, Poké fans, gotta catch them all!